Hi, everyone. Welcome. Today, we are celebrating women founders and funders, and we're going to have a blast. We're diving into this landscape of investing where women are both deciding and making huge waves on the entire ecosystem. I just want to tell you how excited I am to connect with you today. The women that you're going to get to meet are some of my favorite people. They're just amazing. So I'll pose a couple questions to you. What percent of all venture capital investments fueling the high growth companies of tomorrow, the Googles and the LinkedIns and et cetera, how much money do you think goes to companies founded by women? Just 2%. It's been sticking at that number for a long time, and we have to change it, and we can. So today, what we're doing is we're trying to get all of you to start really understanding venture capital as an opportunity for you to make money and have power and influence and talk to all your friends about it. Our goal is to get 10,000 women to invest in venture capital for the first time. We have 1,400 women who've already signed on. Winsome was with me in New York City last year. We rang the bell at NASDAQ to kick off this campaign. We've gotten $140 million committed to invest in other women run venture firms in this country. This is what we believe is going to change the game. I'm also the managing partner for a venture firm that we've started at How Women Lead, and How Women Invest is the name of that fund. And I cannot tell you how much fun it is to get to meet these amazing, innovative women. Somebody asked me yesterday, they were like, oh, is everybody doing, like skincare? And I'm like, well, there's skincare companies in there. That's fine. And I sometimes buy those products. That's not what we invest in. We invest in high tech, disruptive technologies, innovations, things that are, nothing about those things feels sort of, you can't throw it away. They're huge, essential opportunities in our country. So you're going to get to meet one of those founders today. So I'm so excited. Winsome Kirton, CEO and founder of Herd.io. This is a platform to source directly from and track the impact of your spend in your company or for you personally with diverse owned social impact and sustainable brands. The whole goal is for it to be really easy for you to find all of those companies that meet your values, those things that are really important to you. So, Winsome, so jazzed to have an opportunity to catch up with you and give you a platform to share your story. All of you should be talking to your company today about using Herd.io for any your procurement that would be aligned with the Herd.io platform. So put that on, Google it right now, pull it up in your LinkedIn, make sure you or your Google, make sure that you can take that torch. You'll feel great about having an impact and taking action today. We also have Tatijana Janko, who's the general partner of Fjord. Did I say that wrong? Fjord?
RBC.
Which is a venture firm that focuses on enterprise software and fintech. So really interesting companies that you've been investing in. So we're going to get to hear that in a minute. What a gift to get to hang out with both of you. And I just feel like everybody wants to find you, wants to meet you. And this is a great platform to be able to do that. So whenever we get together at How Women Lead and How Women Invest, we all kind of reinforce a commitment to how we are together, that it bucks the negative, crappy cultural stuff we all grew up in, but we've all participated in. So it bears repeating because we're all on a journey. Winsome, would you share our credo with everybody?
Yes, absolutely. Be fierce advocates for each other. Say yes to helping and connecting each other. If she asks for an introduction, make your first reaction yes. Men are better at this than women are. We ask you to reinforce her voice. When she speaks up and isn't heard, be her megaphone and ensure that she gets credit. And maybe most important, you get out there and be unabashedly visible. Build your LinkedIn, build your thought leadership, network as part of your workday. The old ways of women being invisible are over. There is nothing indelicate about standing in your power and owning your voice.
I love hearing that, and I love hearing it from you. So I hope everybody felt that sort of sense of elation of like, wow, what is possible if we were all this way together? So we're going to get into a really interesting conversation, but I kind of want to set the stage for you for a couple things. Women founders who get venture funding return more for their investors. How much do you think it is? What's your guess? It's 35% more. We're more capital efficient and performance driven. So That means we have less money and do more with it. And you can use your own, you've all watched some of the movies, you know what we're talking about the wasteful spending and all the other stuff that has been in the news. But what's interesting is we still only get 2% of all the venture funding, even though the data is really clear, we'll return more for the investors. It's a huge market opportunity for us. By investing in Herd.io, you know that you have somebody who is going to make you more money. And here I'm going to double down on that. Black women return more for their investors than anybody else. So if you really want to be a data driven investor, this is the right thing to do in the right time. And it's also the right thing to do justice wise in our values, right? Because what happens is when women start their own companies, they start companies that solve social problems. And that's what we're going to hear about today. So, would love to hear, Winsome, from you. Tell us a little bit about Herd.io, and have you faced any challenges running this part of this company as a woman or as a Black woman or just in general? An
Yeah,
entrepreneur?
sure. So I'll start with Herd.io. You gave a wonderful introduction earlier. Thank you so much for that. It is a platform that helps streamline B2B purchases with diverse owned social impact and sustainable small businesses. And our platform does also help you measure the impact that you're creating throughout this process of sourcing more intentionally. We also are launching an AI leverage data solution that helps to score and categorize these small businesses based on their ESG alignment. And I'm really excited about this product because it is taking a much broader approach when categorizing businesses, looking at their digital footprints and actually scoring businesses that typically don't get certified. So, really helping to identify those businesses that would otherwise fall through the cracks when it comes to sourcing. So, to your second question, you asked, what are some of the biggest challenges that I've faced as an entrepreneur, as a Black female entrepreneur? I would say the biggest is overcoming people's doubt. Can't tell you how many times I have talked to folks about our platform and our data solution, and they kind of smile and politely nod as if to say, "Oh, that's really cute
Aren't you
that you have
cute?
this
Yeah.
streak."
Uh-huh. Yeah.
But then when I actually show them what I'm talking about, because our platform is live and the products that we have are real, the tone completely shifts. And they realize that this is way more than an
Yeah.
extracurricular project, right?
Yeah.
I would say the next big challenge for me specifically, because I am a non-technical founder, is finding strong and reliable talent for my startup. As you know, tech talent, especially developers and AI specialists, can be very expensive. So equity is really the best compensation that I have to offer. And this means that the talent I bring on not only needs to believe in the mission of the organization, but they need to believe in me as a founder too. So sprinkle a little bit of that doubt that I described earlier with that first challenge, and you have a unicorn searching for other unicorns. So
Yeah. Well,
that can definitely be challenging.
so would you give us an example of some of the what can we find on Herd.io? What products?
Sure, sure. So right now, many of the products are from lifestyle businesses. So they really lend themselves well to corporate gifting. So think gift boxes, really cool kind of niche woodworked items, leather goods, even some food items as well. And we're beginning to grow into more services too. So think gift cards to local restaurants, gift cards to the local spas in your area, and really kind of using our platform to bridge or to create gift experiences, maybe for your employees and your clients, that actually taps into the community that they live in.
And I can know that I'm doing the right thing and my company meets some of my goals and targets. What about there's a new law that just got passed in California. It's going to have a big ripple effect about climate impact. Can this be
Mhm.
part of because you track and measure, right?
Yes, we do. So for all of our sustainable brands, they are tagged accordingly so that they're easy to
Right.
find, easy to discover in the platform. And we're also beginning to score on a product level as well, which is very important, especially to meet these climate goals.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So the data is really clear that you're gonna win, but the people are still dubious and biased, and I think that that's the problem in this system. It's also a huge opportunity for us as investors, but we need each other. So back to the credo, every one of us needs to be amplifying companies like Herd.io and making sure that we take 10 minutes out of our day and extend our privilege and our networks and be an ambassador. So hopefully all of you feel like you have a fun new resource to bring forward to your friends and your company, and make sure you take the time to really do that. All right, Tatiana, I know you're running a venture capital firm and really doing really highly technical and important kind of investing. Can you talk to us a little bit about your firm? What kind of investments are you making? And have you experienced any of the similar things?
Yeah, definitely. I would echo a lot of what Winsome just said. So I run Fjord. We invest in B2B fintech, enterprise software, AI, primarily in top US tech hubs, just because organically that's kind of where our networks lie, but really across the US. And very similar to Winsome, that both conscious and unconscious bias throughout, I think, all of our careers. When 12 years ago, as a junior investment banker, a lot of the women were mistaken for administrative assistants, like in the ecosystem. And now, as an investor at conferences, a lot of the investors, when me and other women attend, like the first question is, "Oh, do you like work in investor relations, or what do you do?" And it's
You're like, "No, I'm in charge."
yeah, I think, and then like it's like kind of like this awkward start to a conversation, as opposed to assuming that if a man is there, that they're likely running their firm.
I find that bias all across the map, and certainly when I tell people the fund I'm running is how women invest, you just watch their eyes go, "Meh," and they kind of turn, and which is so bizarre. Like, I have all these women who are, like, general counsels of their companies. They just sold a company, made 30 million bucks, and literally no one's ever invited them to invest, and the venture capitalists know how much that person made. It's just this weird we have biases all over the system about whether or not you can invest, but also if you can be an investor. Would love to hear if you've ever come across experiences in the LP space, like getting investors as well, what that feels like.
Yeah, I mean, I think it always comes down to just performance and just like
Yeah.
doubling down on performance. Like, we can do this, we can do it as well, we can do it better, and just like we will show you, and we'll show you over and over and
Yeah.
over again. And I think that ultimately resonates. And I think where we're at now versus 10, 12 years ago, when I was first kind of starting out down this path, it's such a different world already. So it's easy to be frustrated with like the status quo, but at the same time, like, I definitely, like, throughout my career, I see the pace of change accelerating. Like, the women peers that I have now who are running their own firms are doing extraordinary things. And I don't think it was possible 10 years ago. So I think we've come a long way.
Well,
And
actually, in 2010, there were only 12 women-run venture firms. It's
that's
crazy. Now there are 300. So, no, it's been what you're saying is real.
Yeah, and I just wanted to say, like, your grassroots organization, like, that is what's making the change. It's not tops down. It's not these big organizations. Like, sometimes they publish things on LinkedIn and they say nice things, but it's not what's making a difference. It's the
Yeah.
people in your network. It's the
Yeah.
investors that are kind of
Yeah.
pushing for change, whether they're the constituents of university endowments or pension funds or what have you, or just investors in these grassroots networks.
Yeah. Can you tell us, so I said the word fintech. In case that someone who's listening to this doesn't know what that is, can you explain a little bit about what a fintech company is and why is that an interesting area to invest in?
Yeah, I mean, incredible business models, first and foremost, in terms of kind of what's possible and how those companies scale, and the market size. I think the gross margin of the financial services industry is the biggest gross margin of any industry out there. We always talk about healthcare being the biggest industry, like maybe by absolute value, but in terms of what really matters, financial services is just like massive opportunity. It's very early in the digital transformation, whether it's investing in just the infrastructure, layers, compliance, like all the nuts and bolts of these markets, and really big global
Yeah.
opportunity.
So who can invest in a fund like yours? How do people think about if they wanted to get access to this huge gross margin in fintech companies, how does somebody find you and invest in a company like yours, like a venture firm?
Yeah, I mean, we're in the midst of our fundraise, our first institutional fundraise, $30 million fund. We have a 5-year top 1% track record, literally like a big track record across 50 investments. We were day one investors, and partners were day one investors in some really large companies in our two
Tell
sectors.
tell us which ones.
So
Tell us?
so my partner Ryan Chan was day one investor for us in a company called Slope. It's a woman co-founded company now backed by Union Square Ventures and Tim Altman and all these other really famous and prominent investors, and the just one of the fastest growing, most exciting companies in the financial markets now.
Excellent. That's very cool. So, Winsome, I would love to hear a little bit about some of your success stories. Give us some success stories, either from the entrepreneur that's on your platform experience or for the corporations that might do the procurement partnership with you.
So, I mean, I think, let's see, I have a lot of nice success stories that I could showcase. Most are the virtual gift programs that are run through our platform. It's a really great, unique way to provide options to any gift recipient that you might have. And those options are all pre-curated by the team themselves on the platform, right? So I've had a couple of organizations who have been in there doing these programs regularly for all of their employees that are celebrating milestones. And yeah, I mean, I've gotten just amazing feedback on the quality of the gifts that they're receiving from the vendors. Everything is drop shipped directly from the vendors, on the ease of use and the platform itself. And then, of course, on the actual impact that's being created, right? With these programs, over 90% of the dollars are being funneled to women-owned businesses, which is fantastic. About 35% of funds are going to Black-owned businesses. And these are Black-owned, not just all minority-owned. If we were to take a look at all the minority-owned businesses that are being supported as a whole, it's more like 80%. So, I mean, these are metrics that you're not going to get from other platforms, right? Because we go through a really stringent process in reviewing and approving all the vendors that are actually available. And as we continue to expand across new industries with the vendors that we carry, I just see the success really skyrocketing. The impact that we want to make in our communities is actually, it's real. And that's amazing.
Yeah. Is amazing. That's fantastic. And all of us say that that's important to us. And we don't have an easy way to find people. So you're making it easy to find. Is there a gift that you feel like this is the one everybody loves the most? I mean, I've had Herd.io multiple times. I've used gifts and swag even, and it's so beautifully done. It's amazing.
So there is one vendor, actually. She's a Black woman-owned vendor that does smart fitness gear. And she has this yoga mat that tracks your heart rate and gives you all of these metrics about your workout while you're using it. It's not something that you really find in stores, especially not from a Black woman-owned business. So that's my favorite. The brand is called Human, YU-MN. So look for her on Herd.io. An amazing, amazing founder as well.
Fantastic. So, Tatijana, when you think about your role in the ecosystem as a venture capitalist, how do you think about diversity and its impact on your success or investment decisions? Like, where do you fall out?
Yeah, it's a big piece of what we do. It's a big piece of kind of what brought me and my two partners together. I think organically, we've invested in best in class diverse teams, 60%, 70% plus diverse teams. And that's been completely organic. Like our first screen is not what does the person look like? It's all about the founders. I think a lot of these diverse founders have just incredible grit, incredible kind of like willpower to succeed. And one of our mottos as a firm, it's a new motto, it's like run through walls, and a lot of immigrants, a lot of like kind of
Immigrants are like the best possible investment.
and like veterans and just these like kind of characteristics of like how people are built and like why they want to run through walls, and like it's like just like inherent to their being, how they build companies. So again, like that's kind of a big part of the characteristic of what we look for when we invest. And those people come from so many different walks of life.
Yeah. Well, Winsome, you have such an interesting and fun background. You present as a Black woman, African American, but you've got the immigrant story. You've got a whole fun.
Yep. On both sides. Yep. Yeah. My mother is from Barbados. My dad is from Panama. And yeah, it's not something that people expect, but I can attest that yes, there's a different type of grit I think that comes with that.
Exactly. So when you navigate through the tech industry, I would love to hear, it's interesting. I actually find that people who are immigrants or come from immigrant families have such a different perspective on navigating some of these environments. Can you maybe give advice to other women entrepreneurs who are really starting the funding journey? It could be the good stuff and the tough stuff. It's okay.
Yeah, I mean, I would say first and foremost, as a founder in the startup community, there's a lot of clout that comes with raising money. And it's something that really validates us because we are human and this journey is not easy, right? But it's important, I would say, to first make sure that the no's don't deter you. As an entrepreneur, as a founder, you are the opportunity. And when investors decide to pass, that's okay. It's their missed opportunity, right? Don't take that too personally. But I would also say some advice that I've received from other female founders who've raised tens of millions of dollars that I actually think is good advice is to focus on really building the foundation of your business before you go to fundraise. And I think as women, you said it earlier, and I wrote this down, women are much more capital efficient than their male counterparts. I think this is probably why when we are building a business, it's important to know that the business itself is sustainable, that we have revenue streams, that we're already hitting some of those milestones when we go to seek investment. And I think that that really does set us apart, especially when you walk into a room where there is bias that you might have to combat before you even open your mouth.
Yeah. As someone who's now on the other side of the table, I mean, I have not been a venture capitalist for 40 years or 35 years, whatever, how long I've been around, just in the last 4. It's amazing how you have to define your thesis. Like,
Mhm.
a consumer product packaged good isn't going to go get funding from Tatijana because it's not part of her thesis, right? Tatijana, how about you when you think about maybe even like advice to people, but also when you see the future of venture, like, are you hopeful? What do you think about both venture and entrepreneurship and where we're going tomorrow?
Incredibly hopeful. I mean, again, just like the peers around the table, how many venture run firms there are. Like we're still tiny and like we have
Yeah.
very little capital, but it's changing. Like every year it's changing. Every 6 months it's changing. And the new women coming into the fold and like building their own firms instead of becoming like junior people at other people's firms is
Mhm.
just like really transforming the industry. And I think women who run their firms are so they have a unique way of collaborating because again, like we're competing with ourselves at that point. Like we're not competing with other women VCs for jobs or for clout or for it's like it's so collaborative and the community is really just
It's
transforming.
a fun moment because it's frankly a young industry for us as female VCs, right? We're all the pioneers and we're both breaking down barriers, but doing it together is so much easier.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm incredibly hopeful. And I think like some of the statistics coming out, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but something like 18% of like new unicorns are now women co-founded companies, even though like we're getting such tiny amounts of capital. And
Yeah,
this,
from 2020 to 21, I don't know if you saw
yeah,
the report that was written recently, but it went from 18 to 83 in 1 year, which is huge, and yet only 73 Series B companies founded by women got investment last year.
Mhm.
So we're still slogging through this growth cycle, and whether or not people will there's things that happen, like they'll exceptionalize you if you get to a Series B and be like, "Oh, you were so lucky to get to this point. Now let's have the white guy take over and run it and take it to the big scale," right? Like every step, there seems to be another sort of challenge. And so, to me, having an ecosystem of other women VCs and we all come together and support each other and support our entrepreneurs, that's the big win. So Winsome, how about women entrepreneurs? You must see, I think your goal is to get 10,000 entrepreneurs on your platform. Where do you see the future of women in entrepreneurship heading? Are you seeing more people going into entrepreneurship?
I am, I think we're going to see a lot more women enter into the startup world in the next few years. And what I hope happens on the VC side, you mentioned there's 300 up from, I think it was 12
12 in
VCs in
2010. Yeah.
2010. But
Uh-huh.
how many VC firms are there overall?
Yes, right.
Maybe 12,000,
Yeah.
13,000.
Many, many, many.
300 is a small percentage of that. I hope that we also see more woman-led venture firms because it really does help to be able to present to someone who believes that you're going to get the job done.
Yeah, it sure
Yeah.
does. Thank you both so much. Everybody who's listening, we're bringing the brilliant founder and a brilliant venture capitalist together, and I'm a venture capitalist as well, to really talk so you can understand some of the language and some of what's going on in this ecosystem. I know you're inspired. These two women are magnificent. There's a place for you, and you don't have to know very much. And I just want you to know there are venture firms, mine included, that could be a great safe place for you to learn and get started, get your sea legs in investing in venture. It is how people make money and build wealth in this country. And women run firms and women run companies, just like the two women you just met today. They're values based. They are doing the work with a lens of making sure that we take care of our climate, that we make sure that we direct resources to communities that need it. So there's all kinds of resources that we've put together at our nonprofit How Women Lead in this campaign called The New Table. You're invited. We want you to start diving in so you can meet. We have 50 women run venture firms, including Tatijana's firm, on our platform. You can find someone who's right sized and perfect for you. If fintech is your thing, if you really are like, I want that gross margin that she was talking about, you can find her on this platform. And we have classes, we have events. You can meet a VC, a bunch of VCs every month and some founders. But honestly, for a lot of us, it's the community of women who are on the same journey with you that is the sticky benefit. There's a Harvard study over 100 years that looked at happiness, and they actually found there's some interesting other outcomes. People who have the most social connections at 45 years of age are the people who are both the happiest, but also likely to live up to 20 years longer. One
Wow.
of the things I know is that women in their mid-40s desperately need to do things with other women and have an impact to be happy. So I'm going to assert that your longevity, your happiness, and being is benefits from being part of a community like this. So join us at the new table. There's a seat waiting for you. And I hope that you will walk away from this feeling inspired to either start your own venture as an entrepreneur or in venture, or join one of us and just start to get on the learning journey. And don't forget, if you work for a company or even if you personally buy products as gifts, Heart.io is the name of the game for all of us. Have a wonderful day, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.